let me tell you a story about John. I met John many years ago at a conference where he was sharing his employment journey with us, with the group. Now, John's a relatively large young adult. He uses a wheelchair, which is rather large as well. He is completely nonverbal and uses a communication device that is hooked up to his wheelchair. He works at Panera as a greeter. But the most important thing you need to know about John is his incredible smile. When he smiles, the light shines from the window into the room, and everybody is transformed. He only could work one day in the afternoon, one day a week. And when somebody would come in to the Panera, he would push the button on his communication device, and it would say, "Hello, my name is John. Welcome to Panera." And then he would smile. At first, when they first came in and saw John, people were taken aback. He's very big, and he's using like this thing that speaks like a robot. But because of his smile, they would smile back before they could think about it. They couldn't help themselves. Jeff was the manager, and life was going on. John was doing great. He loved his job. And his district or regional manager somehow noticed in the sales of the day that in a week's time, there was this uptick one day, one afternoon a week. So he went to Jeff and said, "What are you doing this day, this time, every week? Why is there an increase in your sales? What's going on? Are you having a party or what?" Just like, "No, we do the same thing every day. You know, we rotate the food, blah, blah, blah." And then it hit him. It was John. John was making the difference. So pretty soon, John was working 3 days a week for 3 hours in the afternoon. And everybody was really happy. John was happy because he knew that he was an important part of that team. And the only thing he did was push a button and smile. And it changed the culture in that store. Jeff was happy because this intriguing employee that he had found was making everyone else, all his other staff, was happy. The culture had changed in that workplace because of John's smile. Jeff and John became good friends, really good friends. They started spending time together, going to the movies, eating dinner. Jeff came over to his families, got to know him really well. He even did that thing, you know, where you do the triathlon, and Jeff is pushing the running stroller with John, and then tying the rope on and dragging the raft across the lake or whatever body of water with John in the raft, and then getting to the other shore, lifting John out, putting him in a bicycle trailer, and finishing up that marathon. The guys loved it, and they did it often because they were friends. Technology helps level the playing field. In 2010, something happened in our world, in our society here in America, that completely changed the world for people with disabilities. Apple launched the first iPad. And where for us, it's a nifty little device that made us more mobile, and it was really fun to take with us on places and watch movies and play games. But for people with disabilities, it completely changed the way that they were able now to communicate to the people they loved or the people they were like in school with, to show them their interior life, their wishes, their needs in a way that they could never do before. They now had a tool, and it was the technology that made the difference. My son Charlie was born with Down syndrome. I want to share a story about his iPad. One day when he was 6 or 7, he said, "Mom, look." And he's pulling up YouTube on the iPad, and I'm like, "You can't read. How can you know how to work this thing?" And he works it better than I do, still, to this day. He found the Gene Kelly Singing in the Rain video. He turned it on and leapt off the sofa and started doing the exact choreography that Gene Kelly was doing, dancing around the living room with an umbrella. And I'm looking at him going, "What is happening? How did you know?" I mean, he moves his body, his arms, his legs in the exact choreography. And that was the day when I realized that this technology on this iPad, and I still don't know how, but it allows him to learn and use his brain in a way that talking to him and reading for him, to him at that time, makes no inroads. It's watching the technology, it's seeing the visual move and dance in front of him that wires his brain so he can do the exact same thing. I can't do that. I can't watch a video and then repeat exactly. The other fun thing was he would watch Disney on Ice, and he would start going around the living room with his butt out first, because that's how skaters skate, right? The other key to that is Charlie watched that Gene Kelly video 100 times at least for a couple months before that. The repetition is key. In 2012, I was at another conference, and I was in the exhibit hall, and across the way, I saw this amazing little site. There was an iPad on the stand, and it had the actual photo and video of a young man with autism going to his kitchen, opening the refrigerator door, pulling out the pitcher, and pouring the water. For us, it's not such a big thing. For him, it was huge. And somehow seeing himself do it over and over and over again made it really happen. He could do it. The real-time pictures and videos, and Charlie's and others watching them over and over, that repetition, makes a difference. It helps them learn. It helps them express themselves in a way they never could before. In 2014, I was really lucky. I got to work at the ARC of Northern Virginia, and I was tasked with developing a curriculum to help train individuals with cognitive challenges to take the bus in the metro. Now, recent research at the time had shown, surprise, these individuals need constant repetition. Many, many, many trials of taking that same trip, just one trip. I knew, and it's obvious, there's not enough staff in the world to go out with those individuals all those many times. But I was thinking maybe technology could help. And I remembered immediately the iPad in the exhibit hall and the real photos, and I'm like, ooh, we can use a real photo of a real bus, their bus with the number on the side, them sitting in the bus stop. So I called Wonder, it's O-N-E-D-E-R, because it's wonderful, and told them what I was up to and said, would you help? And they agreed, and our collaboration began. Wonder provides a software platform, and it is amazing, incredible, and otherwise unprecedented. It provides multiple formats to meet the unique needs of many individuals. So it offers functional formats to meet the spectrum of needs that our population presents. I provided the task analysis. I took the bus trip and broke it down into steps, and then made lessons or activities out of each step with real-time photos and videos. I immediately saw the implications for employment, because it would be like, once they transitioned to doing all the smartphones, it's like having a virtual job coach. It's like having a person standing behind you telling you what to do from the moment you set foot in the workplace to the moment you go home, and even after that. So on technology, they can do what they need to do, they know what they need to do, and they don't need a person over their shoulder. Wonder Technology stands alone in the marketplace, even today, and allows us to create customizable curriculum that levels the playing field for everybody. So now we have this amazing technology, but how do we get employers to see people with disabilities, especially developmental disabilities and cognitive challenges, as people with a wealth of potential that could benefit their workforce, their workplace? I want to take a minute and talk about the word disability. I'm not a fan. Dis, the prefix, means opposite or against. So we're literally saying our friends with disabilities are against or opposite of having abilities. And that's simply not true. They're filled with abilities that we don't have often. So from now on, why don't we, instead of saying a person with disabilities, let's say a person with different abilities? Because even though you might not recognize them, or they walk and talk differently than we do, they're still full of abilities. In 2001, the National Institutes of Health released a study about why the barriers for employers to hire someone with different abilities. Number one, they don't know how to handle these people. They don't know how to meet their needs. They're scared because it's new to them. Our technology, or any technology, completely obliterates that fear. It takes away the strangeness because we've created the step-by-step. The employer doesn't have to. Number two, and this is a tricky one, they're afraid to treat the individual with different abilities like everyone else for fear of lawsuits and liability. But if we use the technology to level the playing field, the personality shines, not the deficit of different abilities. In 2016, I had an aha moment at the intersection of Route 50 and 29. There's this lovely little strip mall that's kind of dingy, but it had two businesses that I already knew. Cameron's Chocolates is there, and on the other side is the office for a nonprofit private employment provider. And what happened, Cameron's Chocolates was created by Cameron's mom, who was terrified that once Cameron got out of high school, there would be no job. So she created a place where Cameron could have a job. And all of Cameron's friends and everybody they knew and other people with different abilities came rushing into Cameron's because there's nowhere else for them to go. So I'm thinking, wow, what if the employment providers and Cameron's get together and they spread those people through the whole strip mall? We have Artie's Restaurant, Bowl America, thrift store, dry cleaner, something for everybody. There's a passion in there for everybody. We need to spread that trend. We need to do it there, and we need to spread it through Tyson's, Maryland, DC, Virginia, the world. Uh-oh, reality steps in. If there's not even enough staff at the employment provider in the strip mall to spread Cameron's people around, how can we spread this? We need more. We need more people. But maybe we don't. What could bridge that gap between the staff that we have and the people who need it? Technology. What if technology could level the playing field and be a low-cost option to benefit everyone? Technology does provide an efficient and effective way to maximize success and independence of people with different abilities in the workplace. It allows their abilities to shine and employers and employees to create quality relationships instead of dependent relationships in the workplace. Just like John at Panera. There's a crisis in our disability community. Thousands of people with different abilities are not working. Only 1 out of 5 have a meaningful job. And there's a crisis pending in our workforce as our beloved baby boomers, of which I'm one, are aging, phasing out of work. Where are we going to get people to fill those positions? What if we could solve both at the same time? My experience tells me we can. My experience with TravelMate and EmployMate shows great success, particularly because it levels the playing field. It supports the individual the way they need to be supported. I know I'm so blessed to live with my son, Charlie. Every day I can't wait to go home to him. And I can't even explain to you why it's so amazing to be with him. He has a way of making my life better, richer, deeper. He has a way of making me see very clearly what really matters and what is just a distraction. Not all of you can be lucky enough to live with someone like Charlie, I'm sorry. But all of you could work with someone like Charlie. Please join me in making that possibility a reality by doing 2 things. First, practice seeing people with different abilities as people who are talented, dedicated, loyal, and downright funny. And then 2, start making it possible for your business or company to hire just one person with a disability. If you already hired someone with a disability, get two. It'll change the culture of your workplace. Technology is the key. It levels the playing field and lets people see people with different abilities as valued members of our teams. Let's go change the workplace. Thank you.